أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وحبيب قلوبنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم وعلى آله الطيبين المعصومين ولعنة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam and humanity. I would like to pay my condolences to Imam of our time, Mohammadi Ajalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, and to you mu'mineen and mu'minat on the martyrdom of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and his companions. Praise to Allah, thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the chance and opportunity to come and discuss and learn from the incident of Karbala and Imam Hussein. From past few nights we have been discussing what were the reasons that Ashura took place. And tonight inshallah we will discuss what were the factors or the reasons of the inaction of people against Muawiyah's deceptions. As we all know that Muawiyah used many different methods in order to deviate people from the right path. I mentioned last night some of the methods that he used. One was, for example, propagation. He used to buy the poets, the Qurra and the Muhaddithin in order to make people go for him. Or another example that we gave was, for example, he gave people bribe in order to buy them and do the things that he wanted. Another way was threatening. He threatened the people that didn't accept his call. Now the question is that why people were deceived? Why people got bribed? Why people were affected by the threats of Muawiyah? It's a very important question that we need to answer in order to not deviate when our Imam reappears, not deviate in this day and time. Because as I've mentioned before, the likes of Muawiyah are still living within us. The likes of the companions of Hussein is still living within us. The likes of Hussein, Imam Zaman alayhi salam, is still living within us, within our society. So it is important for us to analyze what were the reasons that these people were not doing anything about it, or they were deceived. Basically, why? Because if we do not analyze these factors, what happens is we are going to be deviated, na'uzubillah, the same way the people at the time of Imam Hussein deviated. So we are not someone special, we came down from somewhere else. We are the same humans, and the same desires are within us that was back in Muawiyah's time. So we cannot say that it's a different time. Yes, the difference might be according to the, for example, the tools that we use, but we still have the same desires. We still For example, the meaning of oppression is still the same, and the meaning of just is still the same. Yes, there are different people, different evil politicians. They use different tools now. They have got different tools than the tools that Muawiyah had. But the same desires are within us. So it is important, my brothers, that we analyze this question in greater depth in order to learn and change our lives. So we are on the side of haqq, not on the side of batil. The best way of answering this question is analyzing the words of our imams, looking within their words, looking within the riwayat. What were the reasons that our imam told us that these were the reasons that people didn't come and join the camp of Muslims, the camp of haqq? And I think that is the best way going about it, and learning what were the factors. What were the factors that took the people away from haqq? And of course we're going to find factors within the words of our imams. As I've mentioned before, when Imam Ali alayhi salam was martyred, he, at that time until the time when Muawiyah passed away, it was about 20 years. So Muawiyah ruled for another 20 years after the martyrdom of Imam Ali alayhi salam. 10 years Imam Hassan was there ruling or going against Muawiyah and the oppression. And when Imam Hassan was martyred, Imam Hussein became the Imam, and until Muawiyah's death and Imam Hassan's martyrdom, there was 10 years gap. So between these 10 years, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, in many occasions, he arranged small meetings, secretive meetings, in order to preach, in order to raise his voice. And we see in different occasions, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, because of the oppression of Muawiyah, he couldn't do it openly. So what Imam Hussein alayhi salam did was make secretive small meetings with the people who are elders of Islam, who are the scholars of Islam, in order to teach them, to advise them, to tell them what you need to do in order for us to come and lead the ummah. We are the chosen ones. We see in many occasions, especially during the time of Hajj in Mina. And I'll mention one of the times when Imam alayhi salam spoke to the elders of the community and to the scholars of the community. Because at that time of Hajj, what happens is you see from all around the Muslim places, people comes and perform their Hajj. And that is the best time and place for Imam Hussein to recognize and select the ones that will keep the secret and will pass it on to the other mu'mineen. So this time and place was the best for Imam Hussein to give away his speech. Now, in one of the places that it has been mentioned in Baharul Anwar and other resources, and inshallah tonight we will discuss this speech of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein when he gave it to the elders of the Muslim Ummah, the scholars of the Muslim Ummah, during the time of Hajj in Mina. Because the people who have gone to Hajj, they know that at the place of Mina is very crowded and it is hard to control. So Imam Hussein alayhi salam took this opportunity and made a meeting, a gathering with who? With the elders of the community and with the scholars at that time. And Imam Hussein gave them best advices and told them that these are the reasons that we are not standing up against oppression, or the haqq is being suppressed. So it is important that we go through the riwayat and see what Imam told us. And this has been mentioned in Baharul Anwar and other resources too. Inshallah, the important parts, we're going to go through it. Firstly, keeping in mind that now this is a speech, a dialogue, a discussion from Abu Abdullah al-Hussein towards who? Towards the ones, the elders of the community, to the scholars, the selected ones, not to the everyone. So Imam alayhi salam says that Allahumma innaka ta'lamu annahu lam yakun ma kana minna tanafusan fi sultan wala iltimasan fi fudul al-hutam. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein starts by saying that, "O Allah, you know I have not done all this for the worldly affairs, and I haven't done all this so we add some worldly stuff to our lives." So firstly, Imam Hussein alayhi salam says, straight away he praises Allah, and then he comes and gives the aim, tells the people that what am I doing right now is not because of the world, because of the worldly affairs, or I'm adding something towards my life, but rather, what is it for? He says, وَلَكِنْ لِنُرِيَ الْمَعَالِمَ مِنْ دِينِكَ وَنُظْهِرَ الْإِصْلَاحَ فِي بِلَادِكَ. But rather, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam says here that it is for the showing the people the religious values, but rather my actions, what am I doing right now is for what? Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam says, but it is for showing the people the religious values, so people know and recognize the haqq from falsehood, the haqq from batil. So Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam says here that I'm doing all this for haqq, so people recognize the haqq, because the haqq has been mixed with the batil. Muawiyah, with his evil politics, he has mixed haqq with batil. I'm doing all this so people recognize what is haqq and what is batil. And then he moves on and says that, secondly, I'm doing this for the correction of corruption, and I'm standing against evil, and that is the reason I'm standing up and performing these kinds of action. And then he moves forward and says, وَيَأْمَنَ الْمَظْلُومُونَ مِنْ عِبَادِكَ. And then he says, so the oppressed people reaches peace. Now because of Muawiyah, it was because of Muawiyah that between the Ummah many battles took place. Between the Muslims, battle took place. One brother killed another brother, and a lot of orphans because of that. Widows, a lot of economical problems because of all these battles, because of all this division. And Muawiyah was the reason. But when you look at the words of Muawiyah, instead of Muawiyah taking all these responsibilities that I was the one for the division of Ummah, I was the one for the deviation of people, he tells Ali Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that you are the people for all this deviation. Imam alayhi salam says to these elders of Muslim at the place of Mina that I'm doing all this so the oppressed people reaches peace. And because of Muawiyah, they are not reaching peace. And then Imam moves forward and says, وَيُعْمَلَ بِفَرَائِضِكَ وَسُنَّتِكَ وَإِحْكَامِكَ. And then Imam alayhi salam says, and the aim is that the commands of Allah is implemented within the society. Now I have done all this hard work. I have told you to come here in this time of hardship, at the time that Muawiyah's soldiers are all around us, Muawiyah's soldiers are all torturing us in many different ways, I have taken this danger upon myself and I have gathered all of you. The aim is that the commands of Allah is implemented within the society. And that is important, my brothers. That Abu Abdullah al-Hussein stood, so the society is a divinely society. Within the society, the laws of Allah is superior above everything else. And then Abu Abdullah al-Hussein says that فَإِنَّكُمْ إِلَّا تَنْصُرُونَ وَتُنْصِفُونَ قَوِيَ الظَّلَمَةُ عَلَيْكُمْ. And then Imam alayhi salam says, Imam says that if you do not help us, he's talking to the elders of Muslim Ummah and the scholars, that if you do not help us and you do not treat us justly, the oppressors will rule upon you. So clearly Imam says here that if you do not support us, the oppressors will come and rule upon you. Simple as that. And then Imam says that وَعَمِلُوا فِي إِطْفَاءِ نُورِ نَبِيِّكُمْ. And these oppressors not only oppress you, but they will try to eradicate the light of prophethood. They will try to eradicate the teachings of Islam. Now you see, that is why Imam sacrificed his life. For what? For the values of Islam. So it stays within the society, my brothers. And some of the other parts that I will mention now is the important part for all of us now. And then Imam says the factors that became the reason for the inaction against Muawiyah. What are those? Imam says, فَلَا مَالًا بَذَلْتُمُوهُ وَلَا نَفْسًا خَاطَرْتُمْ بِهَا لِلَّذِي خَلَقَهَا وَلَا عَشِيرَةً عَادَيْتُمُوهَا فِي ذَاتِ اللَّهِ. What is Imam saying here? Imam is saying that Allah gave you power, Allah gave you status, Allah gave you knowledge, Allah gave you money and wealth, but you didn't spend it in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam says it clearly here to these people. What is he saying? فَلَا مَالًا بَذَلْتُمُوهُ. Imam is saying, you didn't spend money in the way of Allah. You didn't spend money that Allah gave it to you. You're not spending it in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the first reason. This is the first factor, one of the first factors that the inaction against Muawiyah took place. Now, we know that these people paid their khums. We know that these people paid their zakat. But they didn't pay, they didn't give money, they didn't spend the money on the places where the Islam needed the most. They didn't spend money and wealth on the teachings of Islam for the propagation of the teachings of Islam. They didn't spend money there. They kept it to themselves. And now let's relate this to ourselves, my brothers and sisters, especially the mu'mineen of Melbourne. How many of us are living there right now? In thousands. And for years now, we don't have a place. And to be honest, it's a shame for all of us that we don't have a place. We have to be real with ourselves. And don't consider ourselves one of the top companions. We shouldn't at all. We are way down. We are way, way down. So this is the first thing. Imam is saying, you're not giving money in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where Islam needs it the most. Right now, the Melbourne community needs money for a place, at least for a place, so there the mu'mineen comes and learns the teachings of Islam. Some people talk very big, but when it comes to the actions, what can I say? Some of us don't pay our khums, our zakat, let alone paying for these other stuff. And we always talk big. Why is this not happening within the community? Why is this not happening within the community? Brother, have you paid your khums? Or how much have you donated for the land? Or how much you have donated for the teachings of Islam? But when it comes to asking, they have tons of questions. But when it comes to telling them, come and support the community, a single dollar doesn't come out of their pocket. So let's be real with ourselves, brothers. We are way down. We are way, way down, my brothers. We don't have a place for years. Of course, yes, there were problems, unfortunately. And all the masulin, all the leaders who made mistakes, purposely or unpurposely, they will be asked questions from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it doesn't mean that we do not give charity, we do not give money when Islam needs it the most. Secondly, what about Abdullah al-Hussein says, وَلَا نَفْسًا خَاطَرْتُمْ بِهَا لِلَّذِي خَلَقَهَا. And you people, Abdullah al-Hussein is telling them, and you people didn't put your lives in danger for the one who created you, who gave you this life. Firstly, you didn't spend money when Islam needed the most, when Islam needs it the most. Now you're not putting your lives in danger for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who gave you this life. You're not putting your life in danger. Now, my brothers, sometimes Islam needs money. Sometimes Islam needs my time. Sometimes Islam needs my knowledge. Not the Islam, the people, I mean. Sometimes the people needs my time, my energy, my knowledge, so on and so forth. Sometimes for Islam to live and survive, Islam needs lives. We have to keep this in mind too, my brothers. We shouldn't neglect this point. At least keep it in our mind that sometimes Islam needs life. We don't forget this value. Of course, there are times that we have to do taqiyya. Of course, there are times that we have to do taqiyya. We remember the taqiyya part. Whenever my life is in danger, we know that, yeah, we have taqiyya within Islam. But we also should remember that in Islam, sacrificing our lives, this part is also there in Islam. And in the most important matters, my brothers and sisters, there is no taqiyya. Where the values of Islam is in danger, there is no taqiyya. Likewise, there are places that we have to do taqiyya. Now, unfortunately, some of our brothers, they have this slogan that every land is Karbala, every day is Ashura. Now when the Muharram comes, or they have this within their mind, they think every time that you just take the sword out or go and fight. No. We have different types of methods of expressing our ideology. Now if you look at the time when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he preached secretively within Makkah. And because of the dangers, they migrated to Medina. Some of our brothers, they don't see the whole picture. They just see, the Ashura part, and they see, let's fight. No, but my brothers, Islam is a deen of intellect, aql. Emotion is part of it. They have to go side by side. The conditions are need to be seen in order to performing an action. So we can't just say, because we have learned it from Imam Hossaini, is standing against oppression. Let's die, let's kill and die. We have seen Imam Hussein within this time, the 10 years gap between Imam Hassan's martyrdom and Muawiyah's death. This 10 years, Imam didn't do the way he acted with Yazid at the time of Muawiyah. Why? Because the time and place wasn't right. Because the conditions weren't there. Imam Hassan alayhi salam compromised with Muawiyah. We need to see the whole picture, not just one part of it. Sometimes we have to go and do taqiyah. Sometimes we have to sacrifice our life for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's important we see the whole picture. Not just because we have this, that every land is Karbala, every day is Ashura, now let's do whatever we want. We have to work with our intellect, my brothers and sisters. So the first two things that Imam complained from his near ones: one, you're not spending money in the way of Allah when Islam needs it the most. Secondly, when it comes to your lives, you step back. This is the second one. Another factor which played an important role is what? وَلَا عَشِيرَةً آدَيْتُمُوهَا فِي ذَاتِ اللَّهِ. Imam alayhi salam, the third reason of inaction is what? The effect of relationships. The effect of, what do we mean by the effect of relationships? For example, at that time, if someone's my friend, if someone's my relative, if someone's from the same tribe, what happens is, if they are with batil, I don't tell them anything. I don't confront them. We have exactly the same thing right now, my brothers and sisters. That if someone's from my party, if someone's, for example, is from my family member, if someone's my friend, I don't tell them anything. Even if they are on batil, if they are on falsehood, I don't tell them anything. Imam tells these people that you are supporting the ones who, your relatives, your near ones, who are against the teachings of Islam, who are the enemies of Islam, and you are doing nothing with them. You're not confronting them. And you're supporting them. And it was very common in those days to cover your relatives, someone who is from your tribe, or someone who is your friend, to cover their evilness. And even right now we have this, brothers and sisters. We take other people's sin with us. We are so dumb sometimes that we take other people's sin with us. My friends or someone else's. We hide their corruption. This is what Imam's saying. That you're not confronting these people. You're hiding their corruption. Why? Because they are your near ones. They are your friends. They are your family members. Or they are from the same tribe that you are. You're covering their corruption. And this is happening within us too, within our communities, within our politics right now. That no matter a person who is my friend does any corruption, I don't care about it. I support him. I don't tell him off. I don't confront him. This is the reality, my brothers and sisters, that sometimes you have to confront and be enemy of someone who was very beloved to us, who was very near to us. This is the reality. This happens. For the sake of Allah, we have to do it. Yes, it is important that we, in Islam, it has been said that Silay Raham is wajib, it is obligatory, and Qati Raham is what? Is forbidden, is haram. But if someone is against the teachings of Islam, someone who is trying to eradicate the teachings of Islam, who is after the teachings of Islam and Islamic values, then there is no friendship. There is no being a friend of that person. Now, this was the reason that Imam told these people. And when you look deep into these words of Imam alayhi salam, you come to the conclusion of another riwayat. That when we talked about why the people are being in the position where they don't care about Muawiyah's deceptions or his oppression, one was because of the money, because of what? Because of their status, because of their lives, because of friendship. These are all what, my brothers? We come to another riwayat and see what it is. In the tradition, it has been mentioned, حُبُّ الدُّنْيَا رَأْسُ كُلِّ خَطِيَّةٍ. The love of world is the root of every sin. Now, what do we mean, the love of world? Does it mean loving the nature and the beautiful scenery out in the world by looking at the nature, loving the nature? Does it mean this love? Or does it mean loving your family members, your friends is a sin? Na'uz billah, all this. Does this riwayat means this? That loving your family members or loving your father, loving your friends, loving the nature, loving the beautiful places around you is a sin? If these are not sin, then what is a sin? What is it? We come and realize that the sign of hubbul dunya, or the love of world, is that when there is two options, one is dunya and the other one is the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you have hubbul dunya, the love of world, you choose what? You choose dunya over the commands of Allah. You choose dunya over what? Over Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is hubbul dunya, which is a sin. That you choose dunya over Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the reality, my brothers. We have to look within our lives and see that, am I like this? When my life gets in danger, I forget the commands of Allah. I forget the values of Islam. Is this how it is? If this is how it is, then when my Imam Mahdi Ajallallahu Ta'ala for Sharif, when he reappears, I'm going to do exactly, God forbid, the way the Kufans did. It's not like when Imam reappears, there's some kind of miracle and I change overnight. We have to start making the change within our lives in order when Imam reappears, I'm kind of ready for Imam. Or if my status is in danger, unfortunately, this is the reality, my brothers. Sometimes when my status is in danger, what happens is I try to save my status by backbiting other people, by making a pious person look evil and make an evil person look pious. Hubbud dunya, the love of the world. And when Islam needs money, my money, that Allah gave, it's Allah's money. Allah has given us all this wealth. When Islam needs it, I don't even attend those meetings, because I know if I attend those meetings, they will ask for money. And they know that I have money, then it is embarrassing. So let's not just attend those meetings. Some people don't pay khums. Now some people come and say that khums is 20% of your money. But in reality, it's not like that. It's all Allah's money, 100%. It is all Allah's money. Allah is saying, take the 80% and give away the 20%. We should think it like that. That it is all Allah's money. Allah is telling me now that take the 80% and give away the 20%. But we think that it is my money and I am giving it away. And when we look at the companions of Imam Hossaini alayhi salam, we realize what is submission, what is giving away, what is sacrifice. May I sacrifice for all of you companions. You are great personalities. Please hold our hands in this situation. Let me check. The battery is a bit low. So at the night of Ashura, when Lady Zainab realizes that tomorrow is the day of martyrdom, that my brother will be martyred, he comes and asks about Abdullah al-Hussein, his brother, that, oh Hussein, these companions, are they going to be faithful tomorrow? He asks about Abdullah al-Hussein. And Abdullah al-Hussein starts crying and says, oh sister, I have tested my companions in many occasions, that you are free to go. You're free to take your family's hands and go. I have nothing against you now. You have done your part. And I'm satisfied with you. Now it's my fight. But Abdullah al-Hussein says, I've done this. Oh sister, I have done this. But they want to stay with me. Imagine this, my brothers. When I go through history, when I think about it, when I do my research, I was thinking at this part. I was thinking, just think to yourself that, imagine you're in this condition. You're with Imam. And your family is with you. And you're surrounded by animals. By wild animals. Like ISIS. You know they're going to rip you apart. And there are 30,000 of them. And you're only, 72? And your Imam comes and tells you, Brother Falani, you have done your part. Take your family's hand, go. On the day of judgment, I have no complaint against you. You have done your part. Imagine here, my brothers, hubbud dunya, if there's a little bit of hubbud dunya, a little bit, the love of world, we would have gone. I'll talk about myself, would have gone. May Allah help us. May Allah help us when our Imam returns. It is amazing, my brothers. Think about it. Think about it. A little bit of love of dunya, we would have thought to ourselves that, yes, I've done my part. Now Imam is telling me, go on the day of judgment. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. You see the closed-minded people around me, what they're going to do? Let's get out of here. But rather, this is the greatness about the companions of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. The riwayat says, حُبُّ الدُّنْيَا رَأْسُ كُلِّ خَطِيئَةٍ. The love of world is the root of every sin. The companions of Allah, the companions of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, there was no حُبُّ الدُّنْيا. They had hubbullah. They had love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They had hubbul Hussein. They had love of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Even Abu Abdullah al-Hussein telling them, you can go now. I have nothing to do with you now. It is my fight now. But they said, oh Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, on the night of Ashura, you go and read the history, my brothers. The companions, some of them stood and told Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, if I am given hundreds of lives, and if I come back to life, I will still do and support you. Every companion on the night of Ashura, you go and read the history, my brothers, how they told Hussein that we are with you, no matter what. Why? Hubbullah, love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hubbul Hussein, not hubbul dunya. And then Imam Hussein moves forward and says different things. Let me go through it fastly because we don't have much time. And then Abu Abdullah al-Hussein says this, وَلَكِنَّكُمْ مَكَّنْتُمُ الظَّلَمَةَ مِنْ مَنْزِلَتِكُمْ. And then Abu Abdullah al-Hussein tells these elders of Muslim Ummah and the scholars that you people let the oppressors rule upon you. And then Abu Abdullah al-Hussein moves forward and saying, أَسْلَمْتُمُ أُمُورَ اللَّهِ فِي أَيْدِيهِمْ. And you gave the right to these oppressors to rule upon you. And you gave these oppressors the right to take the matters of Muslim Ummah in their hands. You were the ones who gave them this right. And then Abu Abdullah al-Hussein says that يَعْمَلُونَ بِالشُّبَهَاتِ وَيَسِيرُونَ فِي الشَّهَوَاتِ. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein says, and you brought these people to power that their doubtful actions doesn't have any Islamic validity. And they are after fulfilling their desires. This is how Abu Abdullah is criticizing these people. And then Abu Abdullah, and the question is that how did they become the leaders, these oppressors? How come they became the leaders? Abu Abdullah al-Hussein gives a beautiful answer here. He says, سَلَّتَهُمْ عَلَى ذَلِكَ فِرَارُكُمْ مِنَ الْمَوْتِ. سَلَّتُهُمْ عَلَى ذَلِكَ فِرَارُكُمْ مِنَ الْمَوْتِ. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein says that you escaped from death. That is why these oppressors are ruling upon you. If you would have resisted, if you would have stood up against oppression, and if you would have given your life for the sake of Allah, these oppressors would have never become the leaders. And this is the mentality of Ashura, my brothers. That when the Islam needs your time, you give your time. When the Islam needs your energy, you give your energy. When Islam needs your knowledge, you give your knowledge. When Islam needs your money, give your money. When Islam needs your life, give your life for the sake of Allah. And tonight is the night that we ask these great personalities, noble personalities, for their help. That please help us when our Imam reappears. Before the time of my Imam, give me the strength to make the ground for the reappearance of Imam of my time. The way you stood beside your Imam, give us the strength that we stand beside our Imam. We want to follow your path, all companions of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And my brothers and sisters, the companions didn't let Imam Hussein and his family to go to battlefield before them. You go look within the history, you will find that all the companions were martyred before anyone from the family of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein goes to the battlefield. Now on the day of Ashura, my brothers and sisters, all the companions are martyred. Sa'ad Allah qalbaka ya Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Now the family, it's the turn of the family of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. The first person comes to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and asks for permission to go to the battlefield is his son Ali Akbar. The beloved son of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. He is the first person who comes to his father and asks for permission. And you can read the history, my brother. In first asking, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein gives permission to his son Ali Akbar to go and fight the enemies. But in other places, when you see Hazrat Qasim, son of Imam Hassan, when you see Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, all these noble personalities, they came and asked Hussein for the permission. Imam Hussein told them, nah. They came again, Hussein said no. But when it came to his own son, Ali Akbar, as soon as Ali Akbar comes, he asks for permission. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein gave him permission. My brothers, it has been narrated that Ali Akbar's face and even his actions were very similar to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was a very handsome man, Ali Akbar. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein says, whenever I wanted to remember Rasulullah, I used to look at my son Ali Akbar. They had great similarities, my brothers. Ali Akbar and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. My brothers and sisters, when Ali Akbar went to the battlefield, he took his sword out and he shouted, Ana ibn al-Husayn, I am son of Hussein, I am son of Hussein. The narrators say that Ali Akbar fought courageously and he killed many enemies, but one of the mal'oon struck Ali Akbar from behind, had a shot off spear from behind of Ali Akbar. The spear pierced the body of Ali Akbar, and Ali Akbar fell from the horse upon the ground on his face. At that time, the narrators say, Ali Akbar said, "Oh Father, Rasulullah is paying salam to you." As soon as the father of Abdullah hears the voice of his son Ali Akbar, he goes towards the battlefield. he takes his son in his arms. This la'in, the enemies have made pieces of the body of Ali Akbar with their swords. When his father came to the battlefield and took his son Ali Akbar in his arms, the narrators say that Hossain went and put his face on Ali Akbar's face. Some other narrators say that Abu Abdullah al-Hussein did this 3 times. He put his face upon the face of his son, then he gets up, then he gets down again, and he puts his face on the face of Ali Akbar, and it starts crying, and he does this again. On the 3rd time, someone puts her hand on the shoulders of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, and when Abu Abdullah al-Hussein looks up, he sees his sister Lady Zainab. Lady Zainab is telling his brother, "Oh brother, be patient, be patient." My brothers, the narrators say that no way Lady Zainab cried for her 2 sons. The narrators say that Lady Zainab didn't come when her 2 sons were martyred brutally, but the narrators say when Ali Akbar was martyred, he shouted and cried and came to the battlefield. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. اللهم عجل لوليك الفراج وجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه والمستشهدين بين يديه. اللهم أعتني بصيرة في دينك وفهما في حكمك. اللهم ارزقني حبك. اللهم ارزقني شهادة في سبيلك. Oh Allah, for the sake of Ali Akbar, there are many mu'mineen who asked for dua. Oh Allah, for the sake of Ali Akbar, please solve their problems. Oh Allah, for the sake of Ali Akbar, please give fast and full recovery to all mu'mineen and mu'minat. رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة مع الإخلاص والصلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.